the pirate. This would also make a nice direct link between the Monkey D bloodline. However, I feel this sets up the plot between Akainu, Luffy and Dragon interestingly. I don't see Luffy being able to beat Akainu. He will most likely need help, and that will be where Dragon and Aokiji come in. Dragon is the perfect one to help Luffy bypass his oppressor Akainu and the admirals. We see Zoro link up with Fujitora and hopefully get strong enough to deal with him at some point. But sticking to the point, it is clear that Dragon was the strongest admiral, or whatever they were referred to before being named admirals. It can be seen that the four would have been grouped together and grown together. Although we do see images on the admirals in their youth, we see that this plot point will most likely be a well-kept secret by Ada. Again, we have the suspense being built for this to be revealed. Ada has been quoted to say if we guess the ending he will change it. This doesn't count as a theory for the ending, however it does count as something that is already essentially solidified as up and coming around the point where Dragon is more revealed. There are further theories that perhaps Luffy's mother was Akainu's love interest, which logically makes sense as they are both of similar leader archetypes and, as already stated, would have grown together for at least a period of time. If we pay attention, we can also see the Akainu only refers to Luffy as Dragon's son, although this doesn't necessarily indicate that he grew up with him. This could just mean that Dragon, who is the most wanted man, has a greater impression on him, as he pretty much should on everyone who is high-ranking in One Piece by this point. Again, though, we can wait and see in what creative ways Ada will reveal this, as the suspense has been built up nicely here. The development of the story will determine the pace at which this does happen. For instance, when there is an opportunity for Sabo to show up and give us some more backstory on Dragon. As up until now the information we have gotten on him has only been partial bits of data. This data can only be used to notice the general direction they are going to take him. However, another thing that can be easily seen is also the fact that both of Luffy's parents may have been important to the plot, similar to Naruto not knowing the significance of his family despite them being central to the running of the village. Dragon being literally renegated to an outsider in the main storyline but still a position of power was a masterful and suspenseful move by Ada. This allows us to still see him not only as a powerful figure yet also have great mystery around him. As this plot unfolds, we are sure to learn more about him and Akainu's rivalry or perhaps partnership. As we see fire and ice clash, we also see wind and fire are supportive elements, which could also create another interesting dynamic. The idea that Dragon and Akainu were close teammates leads to an entire arc's worth of adventures which I look forward to seeing personally. We can also begin to develop greater understanding the context of Luffy's childhood. Personally, this gives me greater appreciation for the beginning of the story when we are reminded of all the drama going on around the Luffy and Ace's birth. This is something typical of most characters in this story. A dramatic birth time and an important positioning of chess pieces to make this possible. Which again makes it interesting that Akainu was trying to kill Luffy at Marineford while Ace was running about, as if the awareness that he was Dragon's son makes him more important to stop than the fact that Ace was the one that was supposed to be killed. I think we can agree that Akainu and Dragon are definitely more rivals than Luffy and any of the admirals. Ada has set this up to see a showdown of Marine vs Pirate. An intergenerational battle. My next theory would be on whether Smoker is the young Garp of the new generation or Kobe is the young Garp. Both strong, but Kobe actually appears to have more potential here. We look at his increases in strength plus the fact he hasn't yet gotten a devil fruit and has such close ties with Luffy. What I also find interesting is the question of Akainu's son. We haven't seen any evidence of him, and this could also be tied in with the mystery of the admirals in their young days. Akainu's son would definitely be an important plot device if he existed, and it would be safe to assume he would be fairly powerful just from Akainu's own knowledge / blood being passed on. As that is how One Piece is shown to work. Akainu's backstory will most likely be saved for late in the storyline though, along with a more in-depth look at the other admirals. However, personally I do feel as though it's about time the revolutionaries pulled up. Of course they are not necessarily strong enough to cause a revolution, but perhaps we'll find out Dragon has been busy doing something of equal importance this whole time rather than just staying in the background here. That is what I imagine will be the next plot point. I doubt Dragon has just been in the background this entire time. He must have a lot of secret information on the world that we need to be aware of. One thing is for sure, once this Kaido arc is out of the way, the need for things to be focused in on a central point will be more prominent. The crew should be even more powered up and ready to move forwards, and the revolutionaries should become more of a central focus in the plot, especially as we move closer to the admirals. Thanks again for watching. Comment, like, subscribe and share the video. I would love to know your opinions and thoughts on what we can see transpiring here. One thing is for certain, Oda is a master of pacing.